Perek Vov Mishna Zayin. Gedolei Torah shinoi senes chaim lo'iseh ba'olam hazeh u'ba'olam haba. Torah is so great, it gives life in this world and in the next. Shenemar ki chaim heim l'moitzeim u'l'chol b'sorim marpeh. It will give him life and give him a refuah. V'omer rifusi l'sharach v'shiku l'asmeisecha v'omer eitz chaim hilam achazikim v'asimchem husha v'omer ki livias chen hen l'roishecha v'anakim l'gargareisecha v'omer titin l'roishecha livias chen ateres tiferes t'magnek. The Torah is great. It gives him life in this world and in Olam Haba. We have a principle that schar mitzvah b'hayam aleka. Gemara in Kedushin teaches us that we don't get reward for mitzvahs in this world. Our reward is in Olam Haba. Schar mitzvahs b'hayam aleka. We don't get reward for mitzvahs in this world. And yet the Mishna is saying, the Bryce is saying, that Torah is great. It gives chayim lo yiseh b'olam hazeh and olam haba, but olam hazeh as well. So Rashi explains that Torah is in the category of those mitzvahs that is mentioned in Mishna of Peah, which we say every day. The category of mitzvahs she'odam oichel perisayim b'olam hazeh v'keren kayemes lo olam haba. There's a category of mitzvahs that the ultimate reward is in Olam Haba, but we do eat the pears, we eat the fruit of our labor by Olam Hazeh as well. We do get reward for it in Olam Hazeh. Kibud aveim, gimulus chasodim, avat shalom ben avon chaverei, ben ish lishtoi. These are a category of mitzvahs that a person, he's oichel perisayim, he eats the fruit, so to speak, in this world. The keren, the principal amount, the tree of it is by Olam Haba, but we do eat the fruit by Olam Hazeh. Well, then the question arises, if that's the case, why is the Tana singling out Torah? Then there's this whole group of mitzvahs that have that similar characteristic. Now, it's true that the Mishnah says in Peah, Talmud Torah can get kulam, but it is not unique to Torah. And here we seem to be discussing the things that are unique to Torah, that Torah has and none of the other mitzvahs have, and one of them is that it's Noisenes Chaim B'olam Hazeh B'olam Haba. Perhaps the pshat is that what we're referring to over here is not the schar of the mitzvah. A person does a mitzvah, the Rebbeinu Shalom rewards him. He gives him a reward. He's paid back for the mitzvah that he does, primarily in Olam Haba. But perhaps what the Tana is referring to here is not the schar of the mitzvah. It's the poel yotze of Talmud Torah. It's the natural state of events. Without the cheshbon of the schar, without the reward, it's the teva, it's the state of being. A person who is oisek b'Torah, his natural state is he's connected to the life. There's Makor HaChaim, the source of life. Torah is the source of life. Istakel Baraisa Bara Alma, the world was created through the Torah. He's connected through the tree of life, and the natural state is Chaim. L'havdil, L'mashal. If a person takes care of himself, and he lives a healthy life, does the proper things to maintain himself properly, his life, what he eats, his lifestyle, the natural state is health. The natural state of a person, disregarding the schar and einish, the special rewards, the rewards that we can't even fathom that come from the performance of mitzvahs. But aside from that, the natural state, the derech hateva, is Chaim, because Torah is the Makor HaChaim. The first capital in Tehillim, Ashrei ha'ish asher lo holach v'atzas rishoyim v'derech hatoyim lo oman v'moishev leitzim lo yoshev ki im b'seres Hashem chevsai v'seirasa yege yemam v'layla. How fortunate is the person that the Torah Hashem chevsai, his desire His whole desire is the Torah, and he toils in the Torah yom and v'layla, day and night. And what will be with a person that is Hashem Chavsa Seirasa Yega Yom V'Layla V'Hoya Ke'etz Shosel Al Pal Gemayim Asher Pir Yitain Be'itai V'Alei Lo Yibal V'Chula Sheyasa Yatzliach. And that person is like the tree that's planted on the sides of the water, the banks of the water, that the leaves will never wither. He will produce fruit in the proper time, and with whatever he does, he'll have hatzlacha. He'll have hatzlacha with whatever he does. That's the natural state of things. If you plant a tree in rich soil that has sources of water, the tree naturally will produce the fruit at the proper time if it's planted in the proper place, in the proper way. Irrigated with what it will produce naturally the fruit, and the leaves will not wither. A person who's he's planted in the proper way, he's connected, he's mechuber to the source of life, and his natural state is chayim. And perhaps that's what the Tana is telling us. He's connected to the source of life. He'll have chayim. V'oimer ki livyas chen l'roishech. Livyas chen. The Torah gives chen to a person. Also, Mishna says yalas chen. You see over that the Torah gives chen to a person. Titin l'roishcha livyas chen ateres tiferes. What is chen? What is this chen that the Torah gives us? Pasuk says that Noach motza chen b'nei Hashem. He found favor in the eyes of Hashem. What does that mean? He found favor in the eyes of Hashem, and he was saved from the Mabul, and he was saved from the death and destruction of the Mabul. But the Pasuk says that Noach ish tzaddik tom haya b'dei roisav. What do you mean? Wasn't he saved from the Mabul because he was a tzaddik? Not because of any favoritism, not because of Motzah Chen, he found favor in the eyes of him, there was favoritism. What do you mean? He was a tzaddik. He was a tzaddik, so therefore he was saved. No. The Gemara in Sanhedrin says, Gamal Noach nechtam gzar dinai. Also on Noach was sealed the fate of every, because when the world as a whole is deserving of destruction, Eina Mavchim ben Tzadik l'Rosha. So what saved Noach? That he found chen in the eyes of Hashem. And therefore, that even overturned the Gzar Din. There's an added dimension. There's a special element. If someone's oisik b'Torah, it gives him chen in Hashem. And therefore, it rises above the schar v'einish, even a gzar din. The natural teva of things is that he'll have bracha v'atzlah and chayim. And Noach was motzah chen, so even though there was nechtam gzar din, he was a tzaddik, and that was one of the reasons he was motzah chen. But he was motzah chen, and therefore, even though it was nechtam gzar din, he was saved. What is that element of chen? The element of chen, l'chayra by Noach, was that not only he did righteous deeds, not only was a tzaddik, but he was a tzaddik in the face of all the opposition. The whole world was corrupt, and he had to stand alone to face down the whole world. And if somebody negates the natural tendencies and is mevatel himself to the Ratzon Hashem, opposes all of that, all of the temptations and all of the opposition, then he's motzah chen. A person who toils in Torah yom v'layla, that comes with great difficulty. That comes with negating so many inyanim of olam hazeh, and so many desires and temptations, and many times it requires standing alone against his sviva, against those around him. So besides from the Maisa Mitzvah and the schar, the indescribable schar that he'll receive, but he's also motzah chen. The natural course of events is chayim and brocha v'hatzlocha. That's the great benefit, the great bracha that the Rebbeinu Shalom gives for those who are for those who oppose the temptations, who oppose those around them and are steadfast in their avodas Hashem, their limud HaTorah, that they have chayim. Case shosol apalgi mayim asher pira yitain beyitai, and their motzah chayim, and that rises above the cheshbonis of schar v'oinish. It rises above teva. It's a natural order and source of things. I'm reminded of a time when I went with some of my family. We went into Rafal Levin Zatzal. He was the son of Rav Ari Levin, the great tzaddik of Yerushalayim. Rav Ari Levin, the great tzaddik of Yerushalayim. We went in for a bracha. And one of my daughters was right after the chasana, and right after the chasana we came to Yerushalayim, and we went in for a bracha. And we came in, and right away he looked at the young couple and he said, "B'shal toivu mitzlachas bracha v'atzlach." It should all go easy. It should all go well. And we looked in amazement. So I explained, they just had a chasana a very, very short while. He said, "Bracha v'atzlach b'shal toivu mitzlachas." So it happened several weeks later that we happened to find out that Baruch Hashem, that they were expecting their first child. There was a pelletic incident. But upon him, we had a discussion, and we asked for brachas, and we gave them the names, etc., and we had a discussion about things in general. And the discussion turned around to chen. And he said that there is a musag of chen, that sometimes a person finds chen in the eyes of Hashem. And we can't fathom the siyata d'shmaya, and we can't fathom why and who, and why is it this person that has a special chen, not another person. We don't know the cheshbonos. We can't figure out these cheshbonos. And he said it with a tear in his eye. He said, with tears in his eyes, he says, it's very rare. Very rare to find a person that has chen b'olam hazeh, that we can see that chen, that we can see, that it's visible. And the cheshbonos of who was zeich to that chen, we don't know. But there are people in every generation that are zeich to that special chen, which is over and above the regular gedorim of olam hazeh.